and I'm a former Division I athlete turned entrepreneur. I run my own fitness and nutrition coaching business, as well as a sports media brand that produces podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates exclusive paid content. The fun part is I don't really know what I'm doing as a business owner. I'm just figuring it out day by day. This show, Snapped, acts as an audio journal for my thoughts and ideas on fitness, health, business, mindset, and whatever else I find important on the pursuit to personal happiness and a balanced life. I hope you can take something from the show that makes your life a little bit better. And regardless, I'm just happy you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. All right. And we joined today. Don't mind me talking lightly. I'm going to try and talk loud enough so that you can hear it. I will up it in the post if we have to. But I believe that the baby is asleep upstairs. So we're going to try and talk at a somewhat light level. We are back and we are fully back. As I said a couple weeks ago, we were going to be fully back doing podcasts. And then all of a sudden we skipped last week because we had important stuff going on. As a side note, what was happening? Well, we were down in Nashville, Tennessee. We being me and the co-hosts of the larger podcast that I do. I don't know if any of you listening would actually be here without knowing about that podcast or about the Washed Up Walk-Ons, but if you are, hey, more power to you. I'm glad that you found the Snap podcast, and that's the main thing you know me by. And you're a loyal one, a true one. The brand got to travel down to Nashville for Tight End U, which is an event put on by George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Greg Olsen, and basically just an off-season event for all the tight ends in the NFL to train and get better and learn from each other. There are a very limited amount of people who are invited outside of the actual tight ends to be there. We happen to be 3 of those guys, and we had to take that opportunity. We also were able to sit down and record. Ooh, we hit the yawn early in this one. We were able to sit down and record 4 or 5 podcasts, 4 podcasts for the main show and 1 for the Patreon for the Washed Up Walk-On. So it was a content opportunity for the brand. We spent way too much money to get down there that we most likely will not recoup. And it is what it is. The Snap podcast should be, and you can hold me to this or not, we'll see. But I think, and I'm taking some extra efforts to get there. I believe that starting now through the end of the year, I should be able to crank out an episode per week. I have been waiting to get back fully into work for basically an entire month now. And in next week's episode, which I'm going to record right after this, you're going to hear about how I've been waiting to get back into working out for basically a month now. And June, the month of June, simply did not allow that to happen on either front. We had the trip last week, which was a 4-day trip. Before that, the wife had some volleyball stuff, and it's just been back and forth on the personal exercise and training front. Been dealing with an injury, and then this podcast Wednesday, we are basically on the first day in a week that this household has not been sick. So we've run into some obstacles on as it pertains to my life and finding any sort of normalcy or routine in the last month. And that sucks. Um, I love routine. I don't need it. I think I've been doing just fine without it. But nonetheless, that is why we've kind of been jumbled back and forth. We had a Snapped a couple weeks ago saying Snapped is back, talking about my injury, all that stuff. And then last week, I was, Wednesday was the final day of the event. Um, Traveled, got home late Wednesday, midnight, 1 o'clock. And then Thursday, Friday, there was too much to catch up on that was more important than this podcast. And frankly, Friday is when I got sick. So basically, I had Thursday to catch up on stuff, and there was too much to do. So here we are, Snap Podcast. Should be good the rest of the year. I will pre-record episodes. I will batch record episodes if I have to, if I know I'm going to be gone. And at some point when I get back into a working schedule here, which I hope is about this time next week, number two, when we get back from Chicago, going to Chicago for 5 days, we will we'll be able to get a content schedule that's consistent. So I appreciate you guys. I want to take a second to say thank you. Something we don't normally do on this podcast, but I was talking about 2 weeks ago on the episode how I wasn't sure what the response would be when we came back to the show. I wasn't sure how many listeners would drop off. I wasn't sure how much momentum we were going to lose. And I'm thoroughly, thoroughly pleased. I don't know where these listens or plays are coming from. I don't know where if these are, again, I don't know if these are real or not. I'm just looking at the numbers that the Spotify podcasting platform gives me. But 2 weeks ago, I posted 117, snapped his back, and I snapped my back. And that episode, the first episode published in 3 months, has garnered 588 downloads, almost 600 plays in 2 weeks, and I'm really proud of that. I don't know if the audience is actually that big. I have to imagine that some of that is a double play from multiple people who came back last week expecting another episode and it wasn't there, so they played this episode again to see if they already listened to it, and turns out they had, so we get a double play or a double download. I don't know if that's a thing or not. If it is 588 people, holy smokes, right? Like we were consistently in the mid to upper 300s when we left, and that quarterfinals 2023 recap got some crazy 2,700 downloads. Don't know where that came from, but it seems that the gap, the 3-month break, created some sort of supply and demand thing where we're now up at 500 plus people. So hopefully what happened was that quarterfinals recap episode got some people to follow the show, and that's what we see in the increase from for last week's episode. So if we can have 500 people listen to this show, that's great. Here's my only thing. I have one ask of everybody that listens to this show, and I don't know if you know me, if you don't know me, if you follow me on social media, if you just found this through the CrossFit, it's a recommended CrossFit podcast. Before we get into today's topic, I have one thing to ask, and it's, I would love for you to listen to this show on Spotify. It could be a big ask. I don't know. I myself listen to most of the podcasts that I listen to on the Apple Podcast app. I think generally that's where most people listen to them. This show is growing. It's getting to a part, maybe a point where I could monetize it at some point. However, right now, the only monetization, the only way I make money directly off this podcast is through the monetization feature of the hosting platform that I use, which is Spotify for podcasters, formerly Anchor. The qualifications for that process are I have to, in the last 60 days, have posted an episode, check, and I have to have at least 100 unique listeners on Spotify. It says currently that I'm short of that number, right? And that, 588 downloads, how's that possible to be short of 100? Well, it means that of those 588, less than 100 of them uniquely came from Spotify. So if you listen to this up, if you listen to my show, my only ask is that you move my follow and my download each week out of your total podcast listening time over to the Spotify app. It's a little bit annoying. I think everybody pretty much has Spotify on their phone, even if they listen to their podcasts on the Apple app. I listen to all my podcasts on the Apple app. However, Joe Rogan is exclusively on Spotify. So when I want to listen to a Rogan episode, I switch over to the Spotify app. That's all I'm asking you to do. And every single one of you who does that is going to be another person who gets me closer to actually capitalizing on the time that I spend and put on this podcast, which really helps me be able to justify the continuation of this podcast, continuing to do it each week and spend, upwards of 45 minutes to an hour, if it's a longer episode, of my time putting this content out. And this content, I think, is going to evolve in a way that maybe we didn't see coming. And I'm going to get to that in a second. That's going to be part of today's episode. But, I think that if we could make a little change from this, that would be awesome. And we're not talking a lot of money. We're talking maybe $500 a year doing this podcast, but it helps, and it helps the cause, which is basically my fitness pursuit. And that's what we're going to get into now as the topic of this episode. Gonna have to mark it down for 12 and a half minutes in. I finally got around to what we're going to talk about in the title. And the title is going to say something like the launch of TKG training or something along those lines. What is TKG training? How is that different from what I've been doing? What does this mean for my fitness offerings? Yada, yada. Great questions. We'll try to graze over those in some detail and over the next 10, 12 minutes. And then if you're interested in working with me as your fitness or nutrition coach, private coach, please reach out. If you're interested in working with me as just part of the monthly programming that I'm about to describe, which I think is going to be really, really high quality. It's going to be effective. It's going to be time efficient. Then reach out to me. This is something that has been in my head for a while. Very short backstory. I got fired from a in-person gym here in town 2 weeks before COVID hit. So I was probably going to end up getting fired anyway. I was let go. Basically, I needed to figure out what I was going to do because I had just gotten this job 5 months ahead of that time. Basically, October 1 was like when I started this job at the gym, and I had the job for 5 months, and I got let go. And at the time, the Wash Up Walk-Ons was not making any legitimate money. We're talking maybe $5,000 a year. And the only income I had was that job, which was giving me like 30 hours a week if I was lucky. And so I pivoted, sort of out of luck, chance. I decided to create the 30-day Fast Fit Challenge at 2:30 in the morning. and people fucking jumped on it like gangbusters. I had 100 people sign up. Uh, I made $7,000 on a fitness challenge that took me a day to kind of put together into an ebook. And I realized, holy shit, with the platform I have that I've built on Twitter and kind of the following, I might be able to leverage that into a remote coaching slash online fitness coach salary income, not salary income. And that's what I did. I basically said, hey, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to try and do this fitness thing. We'll figure it out. Fortunately, around the same time, the walk-on started to make more significant money, of which I could use as some income as well. And here we sit, 3.5, almost 3.5 years later, and we're still doing it. We're still just a full-time podcaster and fitness coach. I say that because up until this point, the fitness coaching pursuit has been an unorganized one, to say the least. Sure, I have a website, tylerkluwer.com. You can go there. It looks somewhat official. You can click the train with me button and it gets you in contact with me, or you can buy the 30-day fast fit challenge, or sorry, Helions in this podcast. You can buy the fast fit challenge, or you can buy the just win today challenge, couple challenges that I put out in the past couple years. And I can make money from that, and we can kind of, we can work together. But uh, I guess behind the scenes, from stuff that you guys don't see, it's been extremely unorganized. I use spreadsheet. I use a bunch of different spreadsheets to track clients and when their payments are due and when they started a program, when their new program needs to be finished and sent to them. I get payment in like 3 or 4 different ways from 3 or 4 different apps. I have to create a new document every time I send a program to somebody, even if it's the same ish or exact same program that I sent to somebody else because they want the exact same thing. Um, it's been unorganized. And up until this point, there's only really been 2 legs of it. I dabbled with some monthly programming in the beginning and had 6 or 7 guys signed up, and I was making enough money to pay for the service, the software. But we've brought that back, and we're launching TKG training next Monday, July 3rd. Basically, start of Q2, and TKG training is going to be a 3-pronged approach, with the main track, the main prong being a monthly program for at-home fitness. The idea is we want to keep this 30 minutes or less every day. We want to keep it simple, low equipment. We're talking all you need is a dumbbell and a jump rope and your body. Every workout will be able to be completed or done with a pair of dumbbells, a jump rope, and your body. Maybe a wall, but everybody has a wall, and a little bit of space. 30 minutes or less every single day. It's going to be time efficient. These are going to be effective workouts put into structures and formats that are providing stimuluses that are going to both work your skeletal muscular system and your aerobic system, your lungs, right? So you're going to be working on your cardio and your muscular strength fitness. This is going to be a program that if you follow every single day for 30 minutes a day, do the math, that's 3.5 hours of exercise a week. You will make significant progress, and you will not need anything more. This will cover the full scope of what a human needs to be fit enough to satisfy our fitness needs. And it's going to be cheap, right? I'm walking into this TKG training with a volume model of subscription programming, meaning the idea here is We're going to streamline some of the stuff. We're going to automate some of the stuff on my end. Everybody's going to be getting the same workout. There may be some modification uh, options for certain movements, but for the most part, everybody's going to be getting the same workout. It's going to be automated through an app that you can download on your phone. In fact, um, as I understand it, there's custom branding. So you're literally going to be able to have what appears to be a TKG training app on your phone. And you'll just be able to pull that app up every single day when you're ready to work out, pull up your workout for the day and rip it. That makes things a lot easier on my end. And as I learn the system and the app and how to program and be efficient within the programming side of things, it's going to save me a lot of time. And for that, saving me a lot of time, it makes the program cheaper. And ideally, with a cheap program, that's still paid for, right? Um, you're going to get a program that is worth something of value. It's not free programming, right? This is going to be valuable programming that did take work. That's why you're going to pay for it each month. But it's going to be $18.99 per month. And ideally, we can grow this squad of people who sign up for TKG training to 20, 25, 40, 50, 75, 100 people, right? 100 people, 150, 200 people over time. It's going to be a grind. It's going to take a while, right? Building your own business in a way, I've already built it, but kind of rebranding right now and trying to grind it up to significant numbers. That takes time. It takes effort. And consistency and discipline, all the same things that a good fitness routine takes. And I know that. I'm excited about it. You'll be able to communicate directly with me in the app. You'll be able to pay and have your card hooked up and payment processed without having to think about it every month through the app. It's going to be extremely easy to use from the consumer side and my side of things. So TKG training, monthly at-home programming, a workout every single day. I'm super excited to announce that and bring that to what I've been doing over the past couple of years. Now, the other two things that I've been doing the past couple of years are private coaching. That is one-on-one coaching, and that's much more involved. It's a completely customized plan specific to you, your weight, your diet, your nutritional needs, your goals, what you want specifically for your workouts to be, how long you want them to be. If you want to be cardio or, it's a 100% customized approach. Private coaching, that's what I've been doing. Ideally, I will be able to move my private clients onto this app as well and have them in an uh, easy to navigate secondary group. So I'll have my TKG programming clients, I'll have my private clients all in the same app, communication to every single one of you, regardless of if you're on the monthly or the private track, all through the app. No more, for my private clients, it's been downloading Google Docs into PDFs and sending it to them over email. And then usually they're printing out that PDF and having to take it to the gym with them or put it in their, in their basement where they work out. No more of that. It's right there on your phone and should be able to take payment as well for the private clients, right? So we've moved both of those on there. And then the third thing, and I mentioned it, was the on-demand programs, right? The 30-day fast fit program, the Just Win Today program. Those one-off sort of a la carte on-demand programs that you can buy and start whenever. And there's a start and an end date, and it's a certain amount of, it's a 12-week program. It's an 8-week program. This app, this software has the ability to offer those sort of one-time products as well. And so, assuming everything kind of checks out, I will be able to move all three prongs of this operation into what, and this operation is something that I've called Tyler Kluver Fitness on the back end up until now. It's now going to shift into TKG training. And basically what that is Tyler Kluver Garage Training. The idea is that the monthly programming is able to be done in your garage and you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to have a bunch of equipment. It's just garage training. Easy, simple, straight to the point. And with that rebrand, there's now an Instagram account. There's a Facebook page that's going to be active. There's a Twitter account. There's going to be a lot more content coming out. I talked about this podcast evolving in a way that I didn't see it. And I think this podcast is going to be something that I clip out and start posting clips of on those accounts, right? On the TK. So this podcast now becomes sort of a content arm of TKG training. Super exciting about that. Super excited about that. And we're going to grow the squad. I just mentioned it on this. 588 of you who need to listen on Spotify, by the way, as a reminder. I would love for you to sign up. I'd love for you to take a chance. I think at one point there's going to be the ability to have try free trials, or even do coupon codes that'll give you a discount to the training. And I would love to give at that point some discounts or some free trials to the loyal listeners of this show. I don't know when that comes to the platform, but until then, 18 bucks a month, $18.99. That's 3 or 4 cups of coffee, right? Over the course of your entire month. And instead of those 3 or 4 cups of coffee, or in equal amounts of value to those 3 or 4 cups of coffee, you're now going to get a thought out, well-balanced program that attacks both your muscular system and your aerobic system and turns you into a beast, right? Fit. You're going to be functional. And if you want more, if you want the personalized approach, talk to me about private training. I put all my clients on hold. We talked about it over the course of that daddy daycare span when we were trying to get to summer here, as the wife was finishing up the year teaching. I have essentially 12, I have 0 one-on-one clients that I'm working with right now. So when I go to open that up again, there's going to be 12 to 15 spots that we open up for one-on-one private. So there's going to be an option for you to explore that. And I think I'll just leave you with this, right? You guys are listening to this podcast because you have an interest in fitness, or you like listening to me talk, which is probably a stretch. That'd be weird to me. We all need fitness in our life, right? I think some people would maybe push back on me in the real world. In my world, fitness is not an option. Any person who respects themselves has some sort of fitness that is a part of their life, whether it's just walking every day, or they actually have a crazy balanced routine that they track food and they hit every workout just right, and they're trying to prep for a bodybuilding show, either extreme or anything in between. Fitness has to be a part of our life, and it's hard to fit it in to busy schedules. It's hard to fit it in when you have to decide and you have to use the mental energy of, what am I going to do today? Right? What is today going to be? I have to come up with a new workout. Let me do that work for you and join the squad. Become part of the TKG training team. Eventually, we're going to have merch, right? We're going to have merch, baby. We're going to rep the TKG training squad, and it's going to be legit. Let me program for you. Ideally, this thing helps people develop some consistency, some dedication, and eventually some real results. So happy, excited to announce the TKG training is dropping next Monday. Ideally, hopefully by Friday, definitely by Saturday, I will have a link to start signing up that I will be blasting all over the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook, and then my personal Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So go to those three platforms, follow TKG Training, and be on the lookout for me dropping this program. And we're going to start up a squad. We're going to do some special shit. I appreciate you guys listening. Again, go and follow this show in Spotify and start listening to me each week on Spotify. Thank you so much. Talk to you next week.